Let's be honest about one thing here. Girls Frontline 2 Exilium does not shy away from providing some top-tier fan service. And as someone who has been on and off in playing it since it globally launched a few months ago, I have some thoughts about it. And I know some of you might be wondering, how's the game been doing it so far, and is it worth checking it out in 2025? Well, let's find out in this video. Full disclosure, this video is sponsored by the developers, which I'm thankful for, but they are absolutely fine with me just sharing my opinion of the game. Anyway, let's start with, in my opinion, the best part of the game that I still enjoy till this day, the gameplay and the progression loop. I know some of you ladies and gentlemen out there are into the waifu aspect of the game, so don't worry about it, I'll soon showcase all the best parts of it, but for now, let's talk about the actual gameplay. So, long story short, if you ever played an XCOM type game, this is pretty much it, but with anime girls and a ton more depth. Like, seriously, you could press the autoplay button and let the game play itself, but on higher difficulty levels, especially if you want to obtain the best score, it is satisfying to pull off some amazing team synergies or strats. But yeah, as you can see, you usually get to control 4 units, and each of them has their own unique kit, consisting of about 3 to 4 active abilities, one of which is going to be their ultimate. And man, especially with the newer characters, the animations are insanely gorgeous. Like, look at this character Klukai. She does some crazy things with her motorcycle, and it looks even crazier when she's on her custom skin, if you catch my drift. But yeah, aside from those highly detailed assets, the major gameplay element of this game is all about managing this stability index. As long as the character or enemy is behind some kind of cover, they will benefit from a massive damage reduction, because, like in real life, getting shot at plain sight means usually you're not gonna stand around for too long. So it's all about keeping the girls in cover while they unleash their abilities. However, by taking damage, whether out in the open or while in the cover, the stability index gets reduced. Once it reaches 0, say goodbye to that sweet damage reduction, and usually your teammates will be in big trouble when their stability index is at 0. But when it happens to the enemy, that's when you want to unleash the most powerful attacks and combos, especially on bosses, since now they will be taking a ton more damage. Still, there are ways to recover this stability index. Usually support classes can do it, but there's also shields that can be deployed to keep the team safe as well, hence why one of the most popular units, at least during the launch, was Swami. Not saying her custom bikini suit didn't contribute to this surge of popularity, but she was and still is one of the best supports keeping the team alive thanks to her shielding, healing, stability index restoration, and a lot more things that she does. Anyway, aside from this mandatory Swami glazing, one of my favorite things when playing XCOM games were the actual map designs, and it's been a blast playing on so many different maps, each with their own unique rules, terrain, and goals. I am also a big board gaming nerd, so anything that has to do with good map design and skirmish games makes me geek out. But yeah, that's the gameplay in a nutshell. In terms of modes, we've got the usual farming stages where you dump your daily stamina, which can be overcapped and then used up later, but another nice thing about farming stuff is that you just need to 3-star the stage once, and then you can just sweep it with this auto button. Seriously, I think the dailies usually take me about 10 to 15 minutes, so it's a very relaxing game to manage. But moving over to some more serious game modes, the Combat Simulations tab is where it's at. There's offline PvP mode, but the rewards are quite minor, so you don't have to worry about it. But for those who want to test out some team synergies, this is a great mode. But there's also Boss Fight mode, which has an increasingly higher difficulty stages. Then we've got Expansion Drills, which introduce some unique objectives you need to accomplish, and there's a few more modes. But recently, the latest mode they've introduced with the main event, Aphelion, is Boundary Push. Here, you actually go into these specific stages with very different goals at times. For example, one time it heavily emphasized to avoid triggering combat, and all I needed to do was stealthily obtain all the loot. But other times, you gotta hunt through the stages for the big bad boss. It's a pretty cool mode. There's also some meta progression baked on top of it to make this mode easier, and for the fans of the original Girls Frontline, you can even send out the cute chibi models to gather some resources for upgrading. In fact, let's quickly talk about the current ongoing event, Aphelion. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, but basically, Part 1 released back on March 20th, and depending on when this video is live, Part 2 is now live as of April 10th. Now, as someone who hasn't really gotten too deep into the game's lore, as far as I'm aware, this is a major story event that focuses on 2 characters, Klukai and Mekti. Klukai already had her banner, but with Part 2, Mekti is available, and from my time spent with her, she's really cool and has these 2 modes she can switch between to, which can either help the team or provide offensive power. Her signature weapon, Daydream, is also available, which is super nice for boosting her corrosion damage. Another 5-star, or as the game calls, elite unit that's available to pull for is Dayan. And we'll get back to her in a moment, but looking over the main event activities, I actually really like them. One of them is Frontline Survivors, which is basically Vampire Survivors but with cute chibi girls, and I'm always up for some mindless gameplay while I watch videos on YouTube. But then as a board gamer, this next one is up my forte. Path Forger is all about rolling the dice, making the movements, and fighting your opponent to determine who's the most capitalistic of them all. Yeah, it's Monopoly, but it has a lot more strategy, especially with these remote dice, which let you pick any number. which I like to use to land on property tiles to build my anime girl empire. Aside from that, there are of course event battle stages, which you can also grind a little to grab rewards from the event shop, but there's all the other events from part 1, like the assault simulation, which, I mean, it's where you have to shoot targets, but sometimes I lose focus thanks to this innovative gameplay mode. But moving over, let's talk about the biggest draw of the game, or at least the one that's been generating the most views on Twitter with those out of context clips you might have been seeing about this game. So basically, there's this dormitory where you can visit the character and even enable different poses. You can also enable camera mode and view the character from a different angle, which by the way can also be saved as your main menu screen, so I'll just leave it at that. Still, one thing I like about this dormitory room is that this is where you can improve the girls' affinity by gifting them stuff which you usually acquire through many different avenues, but the rewards are, well, actually rewarding. The most impactful one is going to be this Covenant button. Basically, this is more or less, I guess, the merge system of the game, because after reaching level 5 affinity and using up one of your precious rings, you get this cool animation and actual certificate of proof and even further rewards and stat boosts. I mean, as far as gacha games go with these types of things, for those who are interested in it, it's definitely something you'll be happy about. I mean, as someone who got engaged, forged a covenant with Dayan, I have no regrets. Also, the ring literally now appears on the girl's hand if you activate it, and at affinity level 8, it becomes golden. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, when you buy or acquire alternate skins, quite often you might even unlock some unique poses, like this with Dayan's, so just saying. The skins do more than just make them look different. And right now, the new Sharkery swimsuit idol skin is on a limited time discount, while Dayan's Narcissus skin is on a limited time rerun. Just saying. Speaking of customization, this is where the game also shines well. So normally, when you go to the refitting room, you get a nice overview of the unit, and besides leveling it, you can also unlock these neural helix nodes, which can then be used to customize and build the character for a specific playstyle, which is really cool. Think of them as passive talents, but you get to customize them. Or in my case, I just follow a guide, usually. However, another big part of Girls Frontline 2 are the guns. Each unit will specialize in one type of gun, be it assault rifles, pistols, shotguns, or even swords. And the cool part is that you can customize them with a ton of different cosmetics. Seriously, I've got this sick assault rifle on Klukai, but when I enable its actual appearance, yeah, it just looks boring compared to my custom one. And here's the most interesting part. This game's equivalent system of the artifacts are the actual gun parts. Each one has 4 attachments and you can swap in and out, and there are even set bonuses you can achieve, but you only need to have 3 pieces out of the 4 for the complete bonus. And yeah, even the attachments provide custom look for the weapon, but you can override it with your own defined parts for the sake of visual appearance. So yeah, overall, I've been having a blast playing Girls Frontline 2 since December last year when it launched, and even 4 or so months in, I think this is the perfect game to get into, especially if you enjoy the tactics part of Showcased, or let's be honest, some of you want the fan service, and let me tell you, it absolutely exists, and I'd argue it probably has some of the best 3D models that you can explore. And you know what else is great? Bunch of rewards. That's right, if you download Girls Frontline 2 by using my link in the description, you can claim a limited 10 pool reward from the Daydreamer event, and there's a bunch of codes you can use shown on the screen as well. And for those of you who are on TikTok, Klukai's exclusive filter has launched on it, and you can participate in a contest to win a shared prize pool of over $20,000. So check that out, as well as other social media links I've added for this game to stay up to date. But yeah, I hope you found this video interesting. I've been really enjoying Girls Frontline 2, and thanks to the developers for sponsoring me, because I spent a few bucks to get my favorite units. Anyway, thanks for watching, and see you next time.